Packed is your six covered, and thank you guys for clicking on the link to the new updated version if you were looking at the old one. So we made a few upgrades. A lot of people had a lot of questions about the this tarp shelter, and I tell you what, so far it's working out pretty good. We have changed the packing tape to the we use the yellow duct tape, so it's nice and strong. But I'm gonna get in here, and right now we're using screwdrivers as stakes. We're at home in the grass, so I don't really need some big stakes in the grass. But I'll show you what it looks like, and hopefully the lighting's good. But come join me. All right, so first things first, you'll notice that you have 36 inches of floor area. Okay, this is a 10 by 12 shelter. So the 10-foot way is this way. So basically the long end of the shelter has been all the way rolled over from seam to seam, and that's the reason why you see this duct tape here. This is basically putting the two pieces together, and tape has been ran down the middle all the way along it to keep it in a burrito fashion, basically. Now we made these cuts here at 36 inches, right? So we went 18 off one end of the corner, our edge, and then another 18 off this way. We went in 2 feet, and that's to give us 2 feet of overhang where we can keep our equipment dry and out of the rain. Something's nice that you'll see with this shelter is you're no longer laying on the ground, you're no longer getting dirt all over your gear, and it makes it a little bit nicer. Like right now I got a nice breeze coming through, but say we were in a weather that's basically very cold, rainy and that kind of stuff, and it's coming in at an angle and trying to get all your stuff wet. This is where this basically tarp shelter I feel beats a lot of the other ones. And then you'll get questions out there about condensation and that kind of stuff. But the way the door is set up, when you put it up, there's enough ventilation that it should keep it nice and dry in here, depending on how tight you have it buttoned up. Because your body will generate a lot of heat, which will in turn make moisture along here, especially when you wake up in the morning, your gear and stuff could be wet. So I'll show you how the door works. Now before I do that, it's nice because there's plenty of room. If I'm on my mattress and I'm sleeping here, it's not a large tent that you would stand up in and get changed in. But what's nice about this is only having, this is probably 1.5 feet, something like that. It's hard to tell without a tape measure. It's low enough where that heat's gonna stay in your body, around your body, and keep you a little warmer than if you had a large tent where all the heat rised up into the tent and it's way up there and not doing any good for you. So that's one of the good things about a tent like this. There's shelters out there that are 100 times better, pre-made, but a lot more expensive. And this is a shelter that's just in our bug out bag, is kind of a last resort shelter. I'm not saying go out and camp and do all that stuff on all your normal campground kind of stuff. So unless you want to, unless you don't have the money to build a tent, this will work perfectly fine for you. Another great option with this having a floor that has no seams, you're not sitting on one piece and then there's another piece over it, is those little pesky things like bugs. If you're having water that's running down through your camp, it's going to go under or around your tarp tent, and it's going to keep your sleeping bag, your pad, all your gear that you have stored inside of your tent a lot drier than if you just had an open floor model, and all that stuff's rushing through and you're just trying to keep your gear from really getting wet. So with that said, I'm going to show you how the door works. This is the part that is a lot nicer than most. So let's get started. This line right here, which is nice and tight, it holds the ridge of the roof up, but it has one more purpose, and it's to attach the door. Now the door here is, like I said earlier, is 2 feet tall. And that's fine. And so you got plenty of room, but what's nice about it is you have the ability to click it in. So I'm gonna close the door up, give you an idea how nice and sealed it gets. And I have a few more options that I'll show you in a minute that can even make it a little bit buttoned up tighter if you're in very cold, extreme temperatures. So I'm gonna grab the carabiner. This can be any carabiner you want, as long as it fits inside of the grommets. And you're just gonna snap it and put it up here. Okay, so that's clicked in. Now I'm gonna get it all basically centered. I'm gonna grab my flaps and I'm gonna flip them over, basically making like a 45-degree fold along that. Now this shelter, because I don't have it really staked into the ground too well, is basically gonna look like this. So now if I wanna get out of here, or if I wanna stay in here, basically let me go around here. So on this side, it's gonna look exactly the same as the other side. So you'll have this nice section here that you can put your wet, muddy boots, you know, your gear that's already wet that you don't want to bring inside, you know, and get your sleeping bag and make everything very uncomfortable. So a lot of your equipment can be out here in the rain. Gives you a little more, you know, a little more overhang, and makes it a little nicer. And that's how easy it is to get out. So if I wanted to get out, one little click with the carabiner and I'm free. Now you can make this tent a lot bigger depending on how heavy of a tarp you want to carry. You know, if you're going to go backpacking and kind of a minimalist kind of camping, you're not going to want a huge tarp. So this one being 10 foot 12 works out fairly well. It doesn't weigh very much. But if you had a family of 4, you could either split them up and run 2 people. Like 2 people would fit in here fairly comfortable. Like if you had a husband and wife and 2 kids, it'd be all right. Or you can make a larger one. Say you went 12 by 14 or 16 by 12. So there's a lot of different options on what you want to do. Just make sure that you figure out your cut so that your door will reach the top and you won't have a big gap or anything. But it's a great tarp shelter that works perfect, very inexpensive, and very easy to assemble. It's a few cuts here. It's applying tape, add a couple grommets. If you don't know how to do that, watch my old video on best tarp shelter. Can't remember the name of it now, it's been quite a few months. But there's a lot of people out there watching it, so I wanted to do a little better video, a little more explanation on how stuff is. And then you can get some of the information as well from the older video on how to put grommets in. Now I did add, since the old video, besides having 4 additional grommets, you know, in each corner, I did add 1 additional up towards the center along the peak. And that one is, you can attach another line across, and it just keeps the shelter a little more taut, and it gives a little more crisp lines, makes it look a little nicer, and that's about it. So I appreciate you guys checking out my video very much. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. I got more good videos on the way. And remember, is your 6 covered? Take care. Some type of rope, whether it's paracord or some utility line that you have at your house. But we are gonna go find some type of anchor, whether it's a tree or whether you put something in the ground or whatever the case is. But we'll go across, and I'll show you why I'm gonna make this tail really long. So I'm gonna make the tail extra long. So I got like 8 feet or so, depending on how far away you want the shelter. But we're gonna build a bowline here. This is a running bowline. It's gonna cinch down on the tree real well. Take up all the slack. Go around the tree. And then back down. Alright. So now we have a bowline, and it's a running bowline, so it'll be able to slide along the tree. So we're going to figure out where the point of the height we want our tent. So this will tighten up nice. But what's nice about leaving this extra is this will help assist the tent. This string, this right here is going to be very tight, and it is going to keep the roof from dipping down. But this string here is going to tie into the grommet up on the top of the shelter, and it's going to keep it so it's nice, it doesn't flap around as much in the wind. So we'll get back to you. Alright, so here's what we'll do. We tie down the one side, and we're going to need to make some tension here so that it's nice and tight. So we'll just do a trucker's hitch. There's a 4. You grab a bite from here. Alright, so I'm just taking up some slack, basically. It looks like that. And then I'm going to twist these and make little half hitches. Slide them in here long. Okay, so it'll look like this. It's going to capture the rope here and here. I'll pull this back. Okay, and I'm going to have it nice and tight. Okay, so now I need to hold right here so I don't lose everything that I just gained by using the mechanical advantage with the trucker's hitch. So now it's nice and tight. It's like a guitar string. So from there we're good. So you want to be about this high off the ground.